course I get stuck with you as my partner. Look, it's nothing personal. It's just, you're an idiot. I don't think I've ever seen you write notes in my life, and I want to pass. Not that I notice what you in particular do. It's just, forget it. If you keep this up, I'll take credit for the whole project and say you were uncooperative. Though, I suppose you're at least a little better than the last group project I was a part of. But that's only because they're adding Nazi symbolism, so I just had to make a new slideshow and did the whole thing by myself. Man, I hate high schoolers. The bar is already set so low for these type of situations. But that doesn't mean I'm asking you to see it as a game of limbo, you know? You aren't going to lower the bar here, right? Right? You don't even know what we're doing for the project? Did you slip into a coma for the past month? Do you have 3 brain cells bouncing around in that thick skull of yours? Ugh. We have to talk about a classical novel we've read this semester and do a report on the story and any symbolism we find in it. I chose the Count of Monte Cristo because I've read it twice before, and I figured you'd know it since we read it this year in structured groups. You did read it, right? Ugh, dummy. Fine, I'll explain it to you. It's about a man named Edmond Dantes, who's a sailor who has everything going right for him. He's been named captain of the ship, he's soon to wed Mercedes, his fiancée, and he just came into a large sum of money. But his friends, Danglars, a sailor on said ship, Ferdinand, a friend of his who wishes to marry Mercedes, Cateros, despises him for just who he is and the success he has, and Villefort, a debt collector, finds that by not arresting Edmond for a crime he didn't commit, his proud family's dirty laundry could be exposed, so he throws him into Chateau d'If, a French seaside prison, for years. While in prison, he educates himself, escapes prison, and finds the island of Monte Cristo, which is covered with treasure. He returns to his home after decades in prison and sailing the world as the elite count, only to find that everybody's believed him dead for years, and Ferdinand took advantage of Mercedes' grief over losing the love of her life and married her. Dantes is understandably enraged by this, as well as his other friends who benefited from his absence, so he dedicates the rest of his life to making sure they suffer for what they did to him, and, well, I'm not going to tell you how it ends. You know, in case you actually want to read it one of these days. It's one of my favorite stories. You're looking at me funny. What? Did I talk too much? Because you try explaining an over 1,000-page novel in 20 words or less, dummy. It's a good book. And whatever. Look up the ending on SparkNotes or take a nap or something while I work on this. It's not like you'd be interested in it, and even then I'd rather be doing this by myself. But if I had to work with anyone, I'd rather it be you. It really is such an exciting tale, filled with action and adventure and romance. When the Count hosts a lavish ball, because that's what rich people do, he walks across the ballroom floor as a shadow of his former self, a mirage, chasing for the idyllic version of his past he once had, a completely lost man. But Mercedes can look into his eyes and see him. Maybe not the him she once knew, but him. They're a whisper away, but lifetimes apart. It's truly tragic compared to the hopeful to-be-weds they once were. But even when they're separated, their bond never severs. Not really. I don't even know myself now. How can you know a stranger you used to know like your own mind? I wouldn't call it an ideal relationship per se, but more romantic in the traditional sense of the word. To be a ghost like that. A faceless man who has more stories to tell than a library, but still have remnants of that past life you craved so much never leave you. To have her by your side, but not in your arms. The one thing you can never have, no matter how much you want it and crave it and desire it, But you can't say what needs to be said because of who you are and who she is, and the circumstances you find yourselves in. So you have to use every opportunity you have as a chance to get close to her in order to have the slightest semblance of it. Oi! What are you just sitting there for? Crack open a book for once in your life and get to work. Ugh. Just because I'm fine with working alone doesn't mean I'm letting you piggyback off my work.